The Gentleman is not just one of Guy Ritchie's most entertaining crime movies. From a style perspective, it is probably one of his most important films, because here the clothing is not just decoration. The clothing is part of the power game. Early in the movie, Mickey Pearson and Matthew Berger even talk about menswear and power directly, and after that scene you understand the whole visual language of the film differently. In this world, style is not vanity, style is a hierarchy. Style tells who you are, who has money, who has status, who wants status, and who is dangerous enough to ignore the normal rules. And that is exactly what makes The Gentleman so interesting for men's style. Guy Ritchie wanted this movie to feel quintessentially British but not old-fashioned. The costume designer Michael Wilkinson explained that the film had to show different interpretations of Englishness. Wealthy drug lords, mafia bosses, street gangs, council estate boys, and younger criminals all having their one way of dressing. So every character has a specific look, and every look tells us something about the character's position in the criminal hierarchy. This is why The Gentleman fits so perfectly into the idea of dangerous elegance. It is not Italian mafia glamour. It is not American gangster flash. It is British gangster style, which means it is more coded, more class conscious, and more layered. You see tailoring, checks, prints of Wales patterns, wool, cashmere silk, barber-style jacket, waistcoats, chunky knits, boots, leather jackets and streetwear, but all used in different ways to communicate power. And that is the central point. In The Gentleman, every man is using clothes to project his own version of power. The most important example is Mickey Pearson. The movie is about an American who comes to England and builds an empire in the illegal industry. And what is fascinating is that his clothing tells exactly the same story as his character. Mickey is still an American outsider. He is ambitious, rebellious, self-made and slightly eccentric. But now he moves inside the world of British power, British class codes and British tailoring. So his wardrobe becomes a mixture of both worlds, American confidence and British elegance. Michael Wilkinson explained that Mickey's suits were custom-made and based on classic English tailoring, but with a younger and less restrictive feeling. That is very important. Mickey does not dress like a stiff banker. He also does not dress like a cheap gangster. His suits are powerful, but they are not rigid. They use beautiful classic fabrics, but he wears them with ease, and that is the secret. Mickey does not look like he's trying to become powerful. He looks like power is already normal to him. Sometimes he wears the classic full suit, even three-piece suit, and he looks extremely elegant, controlled, and dominant. But what makes him even more interesting is that he sometimes blends the traditional rules. For example, he wears a blazer with a long-sleeve polo in almost all the same color. Like the blue blazer with blue polo or the red blazer with red polo. In classic menswear, you should usually expect more contrast between the jacket and the shirt. But here, the tonal look makes him appear more modern, more relaxed and more individual. It shows that Mickey understands the rules of elegance, but he is not a servant of those rules, and this is why these looks work so well. He looks elegant but never harmless. He looks powerful but never stiff. He has the tailoring of a man who understands status, but also the rebellious attitude of someone who did not inherit his position. He built it himself. That is the difference between dressing formally and dressing with authority. This is also the practical inspiration you can take from Mickey Pearson. Of course, good tailoring is important. A good suit, a good blazer, a good fabric and good fit will always create presence. But in daily life, most men cannot wear a full suit everywhere. This is where Mickey's style becomes very useful. You can take the idea of wearing a blazer with a polo shirt or long sleeve polo, you can combine it with chinos, tailored trousers or even dark jeans, and suddenly you look elegant without looking overdressed. It is comfortable, it feels modern, and it still gives you that masculine, composed, slightly dangerous presence. That is the real lesson from Mickey. You are not dressed like a banker, you are not dressed like a fashion victim, you are dressed like a man who understands elegance but still has edge. This is exactly the type of masculine style that fits the gentlemale philosophy. Elegance without weakness, masculinity without sloppiness, and power without shouting. The next important character is Raymond Smith. Played by Charlie Hunnam, and Ray is maybe even more useful for everyday style, because he shows how a man can look sharp without always wearing a full suit. In the hierarchy of the movie, Rays are clearly below Mickey Pearson. Mickey is the boss, so he gets the stronger tailoring, the richer suits, and the more dominant visual presence. Ray is the professional enforcer. He handles problems, so his clothing is more practical, more casual, and more operational, but still extremely refined. Michael Wilkinson described Ray's wardrobe as the more casual side of English style. He combines tailoring pieces with quilted bomber jackets, knitted ties, tweed waistcoats, chunky knits, and beautiful bespoke boots. And that explains the character perfectly. Ray is not dressed to show off, he's dressed to look competent. He looks like a man who can sit politely in a room, speak calmly, and then deal with a serious problem 5 minutes later. Ray has this modern English look, the beard, the glasses, the slick back hair, the knitwear, the ties, the boots. You could almost connect it to a kind of London hipster influence, especially around the time the movie was released. But the important difference is that Ray never looks ironic, soft, or overly fashionable. His style is controlled, it is masculine, it is practical, he looks professional without looking corporate. And what I really like about Ray's style is he wears ties without always wearing a full suit. Many men think a tie only works with a suit, but Ray proves that it is not true. In one of the early scenes, he wears a light blue shirt, a brown tie, and beige knitwear. It is relaxed but still elegant, it almost feels like a refined home outfit. Comfortable enough for a private setting, but still polished enough if someone visits you. You look like a man with standards. Later, when he's outside and more active, he combines pieces like a blue outerwear jacket, a grey knitted vest, a light blue shirt, and a tie. This is a very strong style lesson. A tie does not have to make you look corporate. If you combine it with knitwear, textured jackets, waistcoats, boots, or casual outerwear, it becomes much more natural. It becomes less office and more character, less accountant and more gentleman enforcer. This is why Ray is such a useful inspiration. He proves that elegance is not only about suits. Elegance can also come from layering, texture, and intention. The tie with a cardigan, a tie with knitted vest, a tie under a casual jacket, a shirt with proper boots and structured outerwear. These combinations make a man look more mature, more disciplined, and more stylish than almost everyone else in a casual setting. And this is also how the costume design shows rank. Mickey looks like the man who owns the empire. Ray looks like the man who keeps the empire running. Mickey has more status, more luxury, more tailoring. Ray has more practicality, more movement, and more function. But both characters dress with intention. Both characters understand quality, and both show the central style philosophy of the gentleman. Clothing is not just about looking good, it is about communication. Who are you before who you even speak? If you want to take inspiration from the gentleman, do not simply copy the gangster fantasy. Copy the formula, use tailoring, but do not become stiff. Use knitwear, but do not become soft. Use polo shirts and long sleeve polos to make the tailoring look more relaxed. Use ties with cardigans, waistcoats, and casual jackets to make classic menswear more wearable, and most importantly, wear the outfit with commitment. Because in Guy Ritchie's world, the clothes only work on the man, wearing them fully owns the look. The secret of the gentleman is not that every character is perfectly dressed according to classic style rules. The secret is that every character has a clear identity. Mickey uses relaxed tailoring to show controlled dominance. Ray uses practical elegance to show competence and discipline. And together they prove one of the most important lessons in men's style. Real elegance becomes powerful when it has edge. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this, follow my channel and see you soon. Goodbye.